Welcome back to another rousing, pulse pounding episode of the Screen Addicts podcast. I'm one of your co hosts, Cinema, Steven Sosa.
And I'm your other co-host, Chris. I'm bringing sexy back, Villegas.
Yes, always. Not just on this episode, I
Oh,
think in every episode, personally.
so it never left.
It never left. He didn't have
It
to bring
never
it back.
left. That's right.
I should have said something more in line with what we've been talking about because, well, actually, I shouldn't because what you said was perfect, and I don't think I would have been able to top that. Chris, you know what? It's been a while.
Mhm.
2 weeks. You know, it's funny when we skip a week, it feels like months. I don't know
It feels
why.
like forever.
Yeah,
It's probably because your recently watched is a mile long when we skip weeks.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm gonna have to probably put a pin in some of these because, yeah, that's a
Mhm.
lot. That's a lot to talk about. But I'm excited to talk about this one because this episode is pertaining to a personal experience that you had. So I'm gonna actually let you introduce what we're gonna be talking about this week, and then we can get into our regular segment.
Perfect. Yeah, last week, one of the reasons we skipped last week is I was on a little mini vacation type of deal. Me and the wife headed off to Tulsa, the big city of Tulsa, Oklahoma, to catch a Justin Timberlake concert. Man, and it was fun. He puts on one hell of a show. And we went to this one because years back, one of our very first concerts that we went together was to a Justin Timberlake concert. So anytime he goes on tour, it's like we kind of have to go because it's just fun.
Tradition.
It's tradition now, and so we went with a couple cousins, and it was a blast. Stayed at the Hard Rock Casino and Hotel there in Tulsa, and so it was telling Steven about the concert and stuff, and it got us thinking, you know what? Justin Timberlake has been in some movies way more than I thought when we
Yeah.
started researching this thing. And we're like, man, we should do a Justin Timberlake episode. And maybe he will see it, and maybe he'll be like, hey, yes, that was great, guys.
Maybe, but we'll see about that. I did think it was funny about how. Oh, first of all, did you gamble at the Hard Rock? Did you do any gambling?
We don't talk about that.
Fair enough. So back to a winner in life
Yeah.
being Justin Timberlake. We it was funny because like we were talking about. Well, maybe we could just pick our single favorite. We don't have to do a
Mhm.
ranking or anything because, again, I didn't. I can only think of maybe a handful of his movies off the top of my head. But then when I went down to good old IMDb, shout out to
Mhm.
IMDb for all of your music research or music movie research.
Movie research.
My God, ever since like the early 2000s, he's been in so many things and he's done a lot
Right?
of cameos, a lot of like one note stuff, but all that cameos and his self appearances aside, he's actually been in a lot of legitimate original performances. So
Mhm.
I actually was able to find my top 3 as you were as well. So
And we
that's
didn't have any, like, we didn't even have trouble, like, no, I picked this one, you picked that one. We had no repeats, which was crazy to me, too.
that is crazy because we could have a topic that's so broad, like, I don't know, sports movies or something, and then we
Hmm.
could end up having multiple of the same picks where we're like, all right, fine, you take it, I'll take it, whatever. But yeah,
Hmm.
again, this is akin to one
Interesting.
of those type of topics where, as a joke, we're like, "Hey, let's talk about our favorite Justin Timberlake movies. I'm like, oh shit, we actually have a lot to talk about on this episode. But before we do that, we have and, I have a lot of recently watched, as well as a lot of headlines. We've had a lot of
Hmm.
people asking us, "Hey, we want to hear more headlines. We want to know about what's going on and stuff." And, well, there's no shortage of that. But if you have anything, Chris, in your busy days off, did you watch anything?
Oh man, I actually got to binge some stuff.
Ooh.
So I'm excited to share. So the first thing I want to talk about is Tasha. You know, I talk about Tasha starts a show and it gets me hooked, and then I have to watch it with her. Well, this new show that she has started, it's pretty old, I think, but it is 911.
Mm.
And man, I really gotten into it. It's a pretty good show. First season had your girl in there, Tammy Taylor,
Oh, yeah.
and she was good, but now she's like first season, and then she's gone. She's just
Didn't Jennifer Love Hewitt come in
Jennifer
or
Love
something?
Hewitt
Yeah, okay. I
came in.
remember
Yep.
they were trying to recirculate different actresses for that.
And it's been very entertaining. We're in, I think, season 3 now.
Mhm.
So we're moving quite along pretty well. And you can tell once it gets to the later seasons because the natural disasters get a little more out there. Like,
Yeah.
okay, a tidal wave just took over LA.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But still fun. So we're been watching that. That's the
That
nightly
is
watch.
911 Lone Star, is that a spinoff or is that like another season of that
I
original
I,
run?
I am not 100% sure.
Okay.
I saw it pop up on 911 Lone Star. I'm thinking it's a spinoff because one
Yeah.
of the main characters in the original is from Texas, and they talk about him being from Texas.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm wondering if it spins off into he goes back home type of deal.
I see.
So, but that one's good. Like I said, that's been the nightly watch, what we watch before we go to bed and stuff.
How peaceful.
Right? Natural disasters. What a perfect way to go to bed. Also, I binged the entire season 3 of Sweet Tooth.
Oh my god, I forgot that. I haven't even seen season 2. How was it?
It was really good. I
Mhm.
liked the way it wrapped it up. Everything, it wraps up with a nice little bow on top, and everything's done. It seems like
So this is the final season.
it should be. Again, at the end, they do a little thing to where it could possibly leave it open for another one, but I'm saying just end it here, end it nice, end it good, and then
Mhm.
that's it. That's it. You
Okay.
don't need to stretch it out into something to where it gets ridiculous, like a Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's really good. I mean, if you liked the first season, the second season, this season is just as good, with all the characters and stuff like that too. So that one's really good. I also watched The Acolyte.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, man.
First 3 episodes, you watched all 3?
I've watched all 3.
Okay.
I don't know. I just I want to like every Star Wars property. Of course,
Mhm.
that's not going to happen. Coming off such of a high off of Ahsoka, I was
Mhm.
like, all right, let's go. I mean, I'm into it. Disney, you did good with Ahsoka. To me, there's
Mhm.
still a lot of people that do not like it, but I freaking love it. And this one is just not hitting the way I thought it was going to hit. I know it's getting like fan bashed horribly,
Yeah.
like really, really bad. And, we always say, don't take the opinions of others because everybody has different taste.
Mhm.
Watch it for yourself and then go from there.
Mhm.
So, yeah. We'll see. I mean, of course, I'm going to watch it till the end,
Mhm.
but as of right now, the first 3 episodes, not great. Hopefully,
Okay.
they're building up to something a little bigger,
Sure.
but we'll see. And then the last thing I have on my watch list is Godzilla Minus One.
Oh,
Finally
yes.
got to watch Godzilla Minus
And
One.
finally. Oh my god.
And Steven, you're gonna hate me.
No.
It was a freaking masterpiece until the
Okay.
end.
I was like, well,
Until
ladies and
the
gentlemen, this is the last episode of the Screen Addicts podcast.
until the end. The
Yeah.
end disappointed me, man.
How? What? That was the best part. You don't like
Because
the sappy happy ending? Is that what?
yeah,
Is,
exactly. We texted about this, and you were like,
Mhm.
"What? Why?" And I was like, "Because he has no honor."
That's right. So you literally wanted him to go down with the ship.
Dude, that's the only way to get the honor back to your family name, bro. Like, you
No,
can't.
he was
Yes.
absolved. He was absolved of this ridiculous notion of dying in an airplane, you know? His
No.
war is over, Chris. They said so. His war is over. I'm gonna start crying
No.
just thinking about that. I
Spoilers.
well, yeah,
Jeez.
spoilers. I think by now people have watched it that are going to watch it. And if
Mm,
you were a fan of the whole Godzilla mythos anyway, you would have seen it a long time ago. But
yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I did think that the very final scene when I guess you could say the makeshift family comes together again, I was like, well,
Hmm.
I don't know about that. She seemed like she got blown halfway across the
I
city,
mean,
but
nobody else probably survived. She was the lone
the
survivor
the
of it.
only one missing an eye. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, that might be a stretch, but didn't care. I was so happy because when that happened, I was like, no, no, no. I was so pissed off. And then I don't know. I loved it. And then, of course, there's some predictable aspects about it, but sometimes
Oh yeah.
predictability is okay. If it's something that you want to happen and you can predict it, then I think it's okay. Like the ejection seat. I knew that guy put in an
Oh,
ejection seat. He had to
100%.
have. I'm
I
like,
mean, that's like Fast and Furious 101, bro. Ejectocito, cuz he's done, man.
I
And
love how
like
you've reduced -1 to Too Fast, Too Furious because they're the same.
absolutely, they're all family, right?
Ejectocito.
But man, okay. I mean, like I said, I will give it to you. It was a damn good movie. It's a damn good Godzilla movie. Like, and even okay, so do not watch it in the dubbed version.
I would never.
No, like it because Netflix has it dubbed, English
Mhm,
dubbed, and me and my son started watching it, and we got like a minute into it, and we're like, nope, can't do it, not doing it. So we
mhm.
switched it to subs, and oh my god, it's just so much better. I can't
Yeah.
wait till they release the black and white version
Mhm.
because I think you've seen the black and white version, right?
Yeah, that was the second time I saw it in the
Yeah,
theater was the black and white. Dude, it's
and
crazy how good it looks. It looks like an old movie. I mean, it's
and
great.
that's I saw clips on Facebook, and I was showing my son. I was like, dude, it looks like old like news footage of shit that really happened.
Mhm.
And man, I was just like, oh, when the black and white gets released on streaming, we got to watch it too
Yeah.
because it takes it to a whole nother level. Hopefully, in the black and white version, he dies, but whatever.
Who, Godzilla? Or
No,
you're kamikaze?
yes.
You're sick, Chris.
What?
Man.
Dude, back then you die with honor, my friend. If you don't die, you have no honor.
Who are you,
None.
Mulan's grandfather? What's your problem? It's crazy. But no, I mean, that was his whole I mean, that's why he was so messed up because man, it was
Because he fucked up. He was supposed to die.
he had a purpose, Chris.
To die. That was the
That
purpose.
was his only
They're
purpose.
they're called a kamikaze pilot for a reason. They're
Yeah.
like, it's not maybe a kamikaze pilot. Let's see what happens. No.
He says so. He gave him the okay. That's
No,
why I was
he
good
didn't
with it.
say live. He said, bitch.
So, okay, say if we're in a situation where we become air pilots, fighter pilots. There's just some kind of post-apocalyptic war takes place, and they
Mhm.
assign me and you as fighter pilots. They say, Chris, we need you to fly down into this starship and kamikaze yourself. What are you
Done.
doing? You using that ejection
Doing
sheet?
it. Nope.
You're doing it?
I'm doing if that is my purpose in this war to do what I need to do, that I'm going out I'm going out like the dude from ID4.
And Randy Quaid in
Yes.
Independence. That's exactly what I
Damn
was
right.
thinking too. Wow, that's
That's
good to
how
know.
I'm going out. I
Well,
mean,
that's fantastic, Chris. Whenever I eject my happy ass out of my fighter pilot jet or whatever, I'll sing your good praises.
you better Make them build me a statue, damn it.
Of you in your pilot seat.
That's right.
Well, that's good to know. So aside from that, good movie, right?
I mean, besides that, dude, it was a wonderful movie. Like,
Yeah.
I know you've been singing its praises, and so I go, and that's the thing about these types of movies too, is like when you hear so much hype about this movie, you already go into a movie like this with really high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, what, 8 times out of 10, it doesn't meet that big of a hype. Like,
Sure.
you're always let down and you're like, it wasn't as great as people say it was. This one was. This one, it was worth all the hype. It is worth talking about over and over again. So, it's a
I
great
didn't want
movie.
to talk about it at length because I know you hadn't seen it yet. But I mean, I think the scene that really sold me was the boat chasing scene where they're on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like Jaws. I was like, God, these
Oh,
guys just made a
100%.
Jaws remake without even realizing it. You know, I'm sure they knew what they were doing, but I
And
just
here,
love that scene.
in that scene, it freaked me the hell out because, dude, Godzilla's swimming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Swimming after him. And then he just like a G stands up in the middle of the fucking ocean. Like,
What was he
how,
standing on?
I don't know, or he's that fucking
Yeah.
big. Like, he just stands up. He's like, bitch, watch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like, Godzilla's big. He's a big son of a bitch.
I thought you were going to say you were scared because it brought back flashbacks of when you were here at Panama City Beach and
And I
started
floated
floating out.
away.
And Godzilla could have got you, Chris. You know what could have got
I would have went out.
Have you seen a lot of these? There's been a lot of news lately where there's been a lot of migration of sharks in the area, and there's been a lot of shark attacks along here in Destin and Pensacola. And Sonny was telling me
Stay
that,
out of the water, bro.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. People are like, we don't understand why the shark attacked this person. I'm like, because you're in its home and your food. Like, what do you? It's not that hard. You know, you don't have to be.
Dude, so what do you do? Like, honestly, you have a gator problem, and now you have a shark problem.
Yeah.
Like,
you just die, Chris, like the kamikaze pilot. Well, I was going to say, I mean, they always say that if a shark grabs onto you, the best thing you can do is try to go for their eyes or punch the tip of their nose. But it's like in that state of panic and shock, it's going so fast. You don't even know. You couldn't even think about what to do in that scenario. Just like Godzilla coming after you. You know, he's way too big. You can't punch him in the nose.
I bet. Watch me.
You could, Chris, of course.
Especially when he stands up in the ocean.
You're like,
in
I'm
the
gonna
middle of
stand
ocean.
up too.
It's not even close to the shore. This is in the middle of the damn ocean. I'm just standing up.
Godzilla versus Chris. That's gonna be the new movie.
King. Oh, and then I'll bring Denzel's line back. King Kong ain't got shit on me. Godzilla, I'm taking your ass down.
I would actually like to see that. That would be a good movie. You're selling me on this one. Screen Addicts Productions, Picture 2.
Dude, I think we would have a badass production studio. We'd have all the greatest ideas ever.
Well,
ever.
We would have ideas. This is true. But you never know.
Cam Gigande would be our biggest star.
He would have to be. He'd be the only one we could get. But so anything else you watch, sir?
Nope, that does it for me. I'm going to go and take a nap now while you talk about yours.
No problem. No problem. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. And I've already eliminated about half of these. So here we go. Okay. First one that I watched was Speed. The 30th anniversary just took place of my favorite action movie of all time. So had to go and rewatch Speed again.
It's mid.
I'm not even going to fall for your bait, your traps, Chris. That's like putting me a bomb and I'm about to explode. You know, we watched this old movie from 1996. Do you remember the movie The Pallbearer with Ross Geller, David Schwimmer?
Yes, well, I do.
It's funny because I was looking up this movie, right? I was looking up Matt Reeves movies because, you know, Matt Reeves did The Batman. He did the other two Planet of the Apes movies, the Let the Right One In remake, and Cloverfield. So I was like, is he doing a movie in between Batman and the Batman Part 2? Is that why it's taken so long? So I went to his filmography and I was like, holy shit. He directed The Pallbearer from 1996. He went from 96 to like 2007 with Cloverfield. Took like an 11-year gap there. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. And not only this is even crazier about The Pallbearer. It was co-written by two guys. One of them was a guy named Jeffrey Abrams, who is actually J.J. Abrams. He went by Jeffrey Abrams back in the
Oh
day when he
shit!
was writing scripts. And Jason Katims, the showrunner of Friday Night Lights.
Oh my
And I
god!
was like, what? He wrote this movie with J.J. Abrams, the director Matt Reeves. Like these three creative geniuses wrote this movie. So of course I had to rewatch it. And I gotta say, I was like, well, that was not as good as I thought it would be. I guess people have to start somewhere. It was an interesting idea. Basically, he's a graduate. He just graduated college a couple years ago. He's stuck in a rut. He's 25 years old, still lives with his mom. And he gets a phone call from this woman played by Barbara Hershey saying, my son really, really loved your friendship and we just want you to be a pallbearer. He just passed away, so we want you to be a pallbearer. And he's like, oh, okay. But he doesn't even know who the person is. Like he can't remember that guy for the life of him. All of his closest friends, some of them played by Michael Vartan, Michael Rappaport, Tony Collette. There's a lot of people in this movie. And they didn't remember him. And so then it becomes this weird thing where he's like, I cannot remember this guy. But then he strikes up a relationship with Gwyneth Paltrow, another big star. Dude, this movie was stacked
My
with talent
gosh!
from acting and the production. But then the movie's not that great. I was like, well, it was okay, I guess. But
Apparently, it was one of their first ones, so you got to give them a little bit of grace,
that's true.
bro.
I mean, it was a nice little indie flick. It was a Miramax picture. But if
Hmm.
anybody's ever heard of the Pallbearer, I would really like to know, and I would be semi impressed by that. But so yeah, that was what we watched. One of them. We watched Son. It's this movie with Andy Matichak, who was in the Halloween movie. She played Jamie Lee Curtis's granddaughter, but in this one, she's playing of her age. She's like 30, and she's got a son that basically it's like an updated Rosemary's Baby type of a movie. If Rosemary went on the lam with her demon child, and
Oh.
the kid eats people, so it's just kind of like a weird horror movie, but it was a pretty good twist. Watched Hitman, the new Glenn Powell movie with
Mhm.
director Richard Linklater, where he's not a hitman. He works for the police, and he is a guy that acts like a hitman. So he goes in, meets these people who are trying to set up an appointment or an arrangement with him to kill somebody. So he basically is entrapping them. So he's giving them these details of what he's going to do, this and that, and then as soon as they say, "Okay, yes, kill my husband or whatever. Here's the money. Now we got you. Now I have to arrest you." That kind of a thing. Well, he falls in love with one of his potential clients or one of his potential entrappees, I guess. And it was pretty funny. Kind of reminded me more of like Bernie, the Jack Black movie that he did with Richard Linklater, where it was just kind of a goofball type of comedy. That's on Netflix. Oh, I watched Movie Crash on HBO Max, that new
Mhm.
documentary about Movie
Mhm.
Pass, and oh my god. Oh, Chris, I was just
Did you have flashbacks?
yes, I thought of a better time, and that time was when I had Movie Pass for like 2 weeks, and
It was
yeah,
glorious for those 2
it was a
weeks.
wonderful time. I watched about 7 movies in 2 weeks because that was the whole promise of Movie Pass. Anytime, any day, any movie. And
Mhm.
then it started. I mean, it seemed like it was a pretty decent idea, but then again, greed and the ineptitude of certain people who wanted to be power hungry and wanted to take control of the whole company and stuff like that. And it turned into this kind of really interesting, like racial story because it was pretty much started by two black men and they got ousted by these richer older white men. So there was this like interesting racial dynamic that I had no idea about. I was like, wow, that's kind of messed up, but it was it was a good documentary. Taught me a lot about the company cuz in the
Mhm.
back of my mind I always wondered, how does this work? Who's making money off of this? Cuz you paid $10 a month, right, for the movie pass card. You
Mhm.
go up to the movie theater, go to the box office, you swipe your card, and it basically activates it as if it's making a payment towards that ticket, and it gives you the ticket. You take the ticket, and then yeah, that's it. And I was like, okay, well, whoever's working that out, whoever the third party is that's quote unquote paying for this ticket, that's cool by me because all I'm paying is $10 a month. So there was some weird, you know, delineation there where it's like it doesn't make sense. It's like how is this going to sustain? Even then, I was like, okay, this can't possibly sustain, like this cannot possibly last forever because
But we're gonna take advantage for as long as we can.
hey, I don't think it's taking
No.
advantage. If you're offering a service, you're purchasing that service, you're using that service, it's not on us to say that it's wrong. It's kind of like my Regal Unlimited card that I have right now at the Regal movie theater.
Hmm.
I'm watching, 1 to 2 movies a week. So I'm more than getting my money's worth from them. But hey, they're like, "Oh, well, if they cap me, then it's like, okay, fine. Then I'll just go back to paying for regular ticket prices at that point because that defeats the whole purpose of this unlimited option." But I don't know. That was a good documentary. It was interesting just to see if you were familiar with Movie Pass or had it, or just curious to see how that
Hmm.
whole thing worked. That's on Max. Watch the new Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Don't really need to tread too much on that. Visually stunning, looks just like the Mad Max Fury Road. The only
Hmm.
problem with it was that it was heavily missing Charlize Theron. And this is a situation where it's like it's not about the character so much as the person playing the character. Because I like Anya Taylor Joy. I think she's a great actress. She's good in a
Hmm.
lot of stuff. She's really good in the Queen's Gambit, Peaky Blinders. What the Menu? Really good in the
Hmm.
Menu. I think she's a really good actress. But when I'm seeing her as Furiosa, I'm just like, this looks like one of those young girls cosplaying as like another character. And because like again, Charlize Theron's like 5'11". She's a statuesque woman. Like she looks like she could beat somebody up if she needed to. That's why
Hmm.
movies like Atomic Blonde work in her favor because she's taller than all these guys, right? Anya Taylor-Joy is like half her size, man. And there's like and then Chris Hemsworth I think is having a really fun time playing a villain that's a bit madcap and unhinged, which is exactly what I wanted to see from him, something different like that. But
Hmm.
she's like muscling around Chris Hemsworth, dude. It's just like,
Oh.
come on. No. No, no, no. And it's kind of sad because you would think Chris Hemsworth would learn from that situation with like when he did Men in Black International with Tessa Thompson. I was
Yeah.
like, how are you going to make a Men in Black movie without Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones? It's not about the Men in Black so much as it's about the people playing them, you know?
Right.
And this is exactly the same thing. Dude, it was out of the theaters after 3 weeks. And I know we mentioned that a little bit on our last episode, but I'm just shocked by that. No, we mentioned The Fall Guy. The
The
Fall Guy
Fall Guy.
was out. Yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, we didn't even talk about that. I guess that could be a headline. Did I have that for headline? I probably did, but it doesn't matter
Somewhere in
because
there.
basically Furiosa is already out of the theater and it was only released like two
two
and a half
weeks
weeks
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
Dude, that's bad. The box office for that was just a disaster. And people are like, "Well, he was wanting to make a another Mad Max movie with Tom Hardy and potentially Charlize Theron." And I'm like, "Well, that's the one he should have done." But based on this episode that I'm working on for the Real Problems, I'm doing it on Mad Max Fury Road. And considering
Hmm.
some of the things that they went through on that production, I don't think that they want to go anywhere near that movie again. But last movie that I watched was Bad Boys, Bad Boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna? Anyway, Bad Boys Ride or Die, Chris. Are you gonna ride or die with the Bad Boys?
Always, man.
Yeah. Let me tell you, if you do, you will enjoy your time because this movie was so damn good, so entertaining, so funny, so action packed. And Bad Boys for Life, when that came out in 2020, it was fine. I thought it
Hmm.
was entertaining, but it just didn't really feel like a Bad Boys movie, right? It just didn't. I don't know. It seemed like there was something missing about it. I couldn't really explain what it was, but it just wasn't as good as the first two. This one, yes, this one it feels more like the first two. It's like, okay, now we're back. I guess they had to do that one to kind of shake off the rust or something, you know. But man, it's so funny. And if people were wondering if Will Smith has any box office clout left, well, he definitely did
He
because it
does.
opened with 56 million. It was the highest opening weekend all summer so far, and I'm glad because it was a really good movie. It deserves a lot of attention because again, perfect summer
Mhm.
movie. And
And I hear old Reggie's the real star of this
dude,
movie.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but that yes, he steals the show in one scene basically. And because you know, the funny thing about Reggie is like if you remember Bad Boys for Life, like he marries Martin's daughter and they
Mhm.
have a baby and he's a Marine. But then even further back from that, Bad Boys 2, that was like one of the funniest scenes is with
When they
Reggie when
answer the
he's a
door.
young kid.
Yeah,
What are they like in high school maybe? And
I
he's like,
think so. It's a high school
"Oh,
prom.
right." And he's like, hi, Mr. Burnett. Oh, the fuck, you know, and they're like yelling at that shit was so funny because you know, who's Reggie? Who the fuck is Reggie? You know, that whole thing. And I love that it's the same actor too. Like that's great that they kept the
Yeah.
same actor because man, the actor now is like yoked up, bro. Like he's huge. He is bigger than Will Smith. Like he's huge.
Damn.
And yeah, now he's a Marine, but oh yeah, there's a scene where in this new Bad Boys, it's such a scene stealer and it's so funny and kind of badass. And yeah, you'll love it and you'll know exactly when it happens. But um yeah, so far that's all the movies that I have, but I did watch two shows. Much like yourself, I did watch the first 3 episodes of The Acolyte. You know, I'm not too bothered by it. I think it's because my expectations were so low and people were saying that episode 3 was just the worst thing that Star Wars has ever created. And I'm like, "Wow, this must be atrocious." And I'm watching and I'm like, I mean, it's not that bad. It's
I
just
mean, it wasn't horrible, but
no.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm like, this is not the worst thing that this franchise has ever put out. I don't
Mhm.
think. But I mean, I do have to say it was kind of boring to me. I
Well, sure. I mean, because what is it?
not it off every
Well, and it's
sleep.
episode 3. So I think
Yeah.
that they're building to it. And people were like, "Oh, well, that poison or fire or whatever killed all the witches in that coven." And I'm like, well, no, somebody obviously did it. Like that's the mystery surrounding it. My only thing is like, you better not try and like attempt to say that Jedis are like
I
sociopathic killers
I
because
think that's
man,
what they're leaning into,
I
man.
think so too because I was like, you want to talk about controversial because like what was so controversial? I guess the whole concept of like you know the immaculate birth and it's just like these girls were born because the other mother created them, one held them, you know, this whole
Mhm.
like concept, like same thing with Anakin, like he was born without a father, kind of like the whole um theory of the baby Jesus, this and that.
Yeah, the
But
whole
because
God complex and
you're right, there's like a lot of
yeah.
metaphorical notions to religion in Star Wars. There always has been. And,
Mhm.
but you know, that's whatever. But like you said, it's early. I'm gonna finish it out. I'm sure. Hopefully, it's gonna close strong because damn, the fan base is already turned against it. So
Oh, big time.
yeah,
Big
and
time.
but a show that premiered today, first 3 episodes on Prime. That is The Boys,
Oh,
and that, my good sir, did not disappoint. Like it, I already
because
watched the first 3.
it's a show about our friend group, right?
Yes. The boys fantasy football team. No, this is the boys different kind of superheroes. These are supervillains. We're
I'm the
superheroes.
deep. No, that's Jeremy. Sorry.
Yeah,
That's
Jeremy's the
Jeremy.
deep. Oh man, I forgot about that. Poor Jeremy. but um but yeah, it's good. It still holds up. I think it's going to be a great season. I did note that I guess this was also in headlines, but I'll go ahead and mention it today that the showrunner Eric Kripke announced that season 5 will be the final season of The Boys. So whatever happens in this season, it's pretty much going to lead up to a finale of season 5. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty exciting, man. And again, first 3 episodes. And usually I don't mind a weekly series,
Mhm.
but just something about The Boys. Like I just want more of it. I want to consume it. Like what is that?
All at once.
all at once, like the Vought pills that they give out, the hemp V or whatever it is.
There you go.
But yeah, man. So I guess that's all I got. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to headlines. Okay. So apparently, I already mentioned two of the headlines, so that's good.
Yes,
Bad
you did.
Boys #1 at the box office, 56 million opener. Um, oh, HBO Max announced that Practical Magic 2 is in development. So if you're a fan of the 90s Sandra Bullock, Nicole
Nobody asked for
Kidman,
this
which,
shit.
dude, I'm going to tell you right now, like this movie has got a following, like definitely a cult following. Like
I've
Sonya and her
never
sister.
heard of this movie having a
You've
following.
never seen Practical Magic?
No, I've seen it, but I like, you were saying there's this big cult following. I've never heard of people just going off on how much they love this movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I'm
it's not a bad movie. I like the movie. I enjoy the movie. But to be like, in the last couple of days, everybody's all, "Oh my God, we're kidnapped." I'm like, where the hell have you been? I've never heard you once talk about Practical Magic.
Well, I don't think they're really bringing it up. I mean, who's going to bring up Practical Magic?
Exactly.
But
Nobody's asking for this shit.
well, I don't know, because the numbers for the streams on HBO, it's been in its top 10 ever since it debuted on, well, I guess since HBO brought it over. And even when it was on Netflix, it was a big streamer for Netflix. Sonya and her sister, I mean, that's like their movie. And so at first I kind of thought, okay, well, it's, huge for you and your sister, but apparently I mean, it's pretty popular. And those streams were not kidding around for it because, yeah, that's a good movie. I think that it's interesting to note, like, I don't know who the director is going to be. I don't think it's going to be the one that did the first one. I think Sandra Bullock and Nicole
Screen
Kidman.
Addicts Productions.
I mean, I'll do it justice, man. I like that first one. The first one's really good.
And like I said, I really enjoy the first one too. It's a good
Mhm.
movie. I just have never heard that people have been wanting a second one.
You know what's funny is like friends of our show, No More Late Fees. They
Mhm.
did an episode where they reviewed Practical Magic. So I
Mhm.
would actually urge you to go listen to their episode
Okay.
where they talk about Practical Magic, because man, they go into more description, and it's pretty hyped up. And it's crazy to think that Timothy Oliphant, like I learned by listening to their episode that Timothy Oliphant was supposed to be the main guy that Sandra Bullock falls in love with. But then they replaced him with old ass Aiden Quinn, who looks like her dad. I was like,
Ugh.
well, this is gross. But Timothy Oliphant, like that's such a disappointment. But whether you're a fan or not, you are part of the cult following. Practical Magic 2 is in pre-production right now. So that's exciting. Also, Mike Flanagan, who is known for Doctor Sleep and pretty much all of the great Netflix horror series out there.
And the movie Cocktails.
Oh, well, that's Brian Flanagan.
Oh,
Chris.
his
So
brother.
you're
Sorry.
thinking of Cocktails and Dreams is something a little bit different. That is the last poet bartender that you're confusing Mike Flanagan with.
Damn.
Yes,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I should have mentioned director Mike Flanagan is he's taking over the Exorcist franchise, and which is great because David Gordon Green botched that last one, man. And it's funny to think that he was able to get that movie because I guess he used the Halloween trilogy that he did. Because what's weird is like the Halloween trilogy that he did, that fell off with the fans too. That first one was really good. But
Yeah.
then Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, they were just so, I don't know, so dumb, so repetitive. And I don't know. So how he got Exorcist, it was kind of surprising, but Exorcist definitely underperformed because it kind of sucked. And so they thought, you know what? This Mike Flanagan kind of knows what he's doing with these horror television series and movies. So we're going to go ahead and let him take out the Exorcist because apparently it was a planned trilogy. So I was like, damn, a lot of people are getting possessed over here. But this is interesting. Our boy Zack Snyder announced that Rebel Moon is getting director's cuts being released by Netflix on August 2nd. Now, Chapter 1 was called The Child of Fire, and this one has now become Chapter 1 Chalice of Blood. while Chapter 2, The Scargiver, is being turned into Chapter 2, Curse of Forgiveness. So both of them are apparently 3-hour cuts for both movies. And I'm thinking, why didn't you just release this as like a mini series?
Exactly.
Like, what is with Snyder? Like, he always seems to have this Snyder cut in his back pocket, which is a far superior film than what actually gets released. So I'm thinking, instead of
Just don't release that first shit and just release your director's cut as the first. Like,
right, and it was
damn.
it was odd that Netflix didn't release those director's cuts as they were, because what the hell do they have to lose? You're watching it at home anyway. If you want to pause it, you can pause it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the minority. I enjoyed Rebel Moon. I thought it was fun. It's very standard, very very cookie cutter type of sci-fi. There's nothing really big in terms of exploration of mind or idea or even action at that point. But it was
It's
fine.
it's better than the Acolyte.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was more action packed than that. Yeah, I'm thinking, how do you have Jedis, but they never fight? That's kind of, we want lightsaber battles, damn it. But who does give the action is Zack Snyder. And apparently these 10-hour director's cuts are going to be pretty good. But if you're a fan of Rebel Moon, well, you've got a lot more of it coming on August 2nd on Netflix. Mentioned The Boys is ending on season 5. Oh, your boy, Pat Sajak, he retired after 41 seasons of Wheel of Fortune.
I cried
41.
when he released a video, like thanking all the fans and everything like that. Gotta say, cried a little bit. That guy's been at it. But the crazy thing is Vanna's still sticking it out, man.
I was wondering about that. I was wondering if she's going to go out with him, or if I guess
Apparently
she's
I mean, hell, she doesn't look like she's ever aged.
yeah, she looks fantastic.
I mean, turning numbers, I guess that's the key to everlasting youth, apparently. Not numbers,
Right.
turning letters.
Well, now she just touches the screen.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't even turn them anymore, Chris.
Lazy. Come on, Vanna.
That's what keeps her. It keeps her looking young. Is that the electricity coming off of those touch tablets? Well, who's the new host? Did they announce a new host?
If they have, I have not read it.
Man, you should have pitched yourself. I think you would have been pretty good as a Wheel of Fortune host.
I am the worst speller ever. So I'd be like, sure, that's right. Let's go ahead. You
He's
win.
like, he's the host. He can't even read. You're like, I'll take 2 for 500. Like, this is a Jeopardy. That's awesome. But 41 seasons. That's crazy.
Long. That's almost as long as I've been alive.
I mean, yeah. That's true. That is pretty nuts. It's older than me, so I can say that with confidence. I'm pretty happy with that. And final headline, unless you have something else, is Netflix. Oh, it was something you shared. Netflix announces a Peaky Blinders movie is finally coming into work. They said that they wanted to make a movie, but nothing was ever official, and it kind of scared a lot of people, the fan base, because that last episode, man, it was a cliffhanger. Like,
big.
An absolute cliffhanger. Like, no, it can't just end like this. It has to have so much more. But luckily, we're getting that movie because they confirmed it with the script that they showed. So that's pretty exciting. Do you have any other news?
He had to get through Oppenheimer.
Oh God,
he had to focus all his energy on that. He got his dues for that, and now he's going to come back to what the fans want him as.
We all had to get through Oppenheimer, if you ask me personally. That movie's going to come back, and I don't think it's going to age well. I think in like 5 or 6 years, people are going to go back, rewatch Oppenheimer, and be like, man, this movie's kind of boring. Like, there's not a lot that happens in this movie. It's just in my opinion, it's a product of absolute excellent marketing. And, the whole Christopher Nolan of it, him winning Best Director for it, which, I mean, it's like Scorsese winning Best Director for The Departed. It's a good movie, but was that his best? No. That was like more of an honorary film to win his Academy Award.
It's like, all right, you've done some amazing work. You put in your time. This is your latest movie, so this is what gets it.
Speaking of absolutely talented and just amazing filmmakers and actors, it immediately made me think of Justin Timberlake.
100%.
Because when I think of Nolan, Timberlake is my immediately go-to thought.
Why they have never collaborated just blows my mind.
Well, looking at his list here, he's collaborated with some really good filmmakers.
Yeah.
It's actually really impressive. But yeah, I mean, if you want to just get right into it. Oh, and I think it should also be mentioned that if Justin Timberlake ever wanted to come on the show, like you were saying, Chris, I
Yeah.
think we can make some room for him.
Him and his wife.
Oh yeah, yeah. Who is also an actress. I mean that. I think that should be his number one pick right there is Jessica Biel. I'm gonna change this one. But yeah, what they didn't meet on a movie though, did they? They just kind of
Just kind of met, I think.
met.
Yeah. Yep. But they
All
are
right.
in a show together.
Well, he's in that Candy, her show
Yeah.
Candy, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay. Oh, that's cool.
All right.
So
So
yeah, you're number 3, please.
we're bringing the sexy back now with Justin, my boy JT. Hey, if you're listening, amazing show in Tulsa, Oklahoma, my friend. Thanks for that. So, number 3, I am going to 2012. Pretty good cast. Clint Eastwood, Amy Adams, John Goodman, Justin Timberlake in Trouble with a Curve.
Yeah.
Movie about baseball scouts. Clint Eastwood's up there in age. They don't think he can cut it very well. He's too old school, this and that, and he's put job over family. Amy Adams is his daughter, and kind of like the old things happen. Kids following their parents' footsteps, and Amy Adams just has the ear. When you hear the sound, Like, okay, cool. And then you have Justin Timberlake there, the young gun, the young punk, trying to learn from the old heads. And it's a good movie, man. There's a lot of good parts in the movie, some funny parts. Justin Timberlake isn't a horrible actor. I think this is one of kind of mid career, so he's trying to do more acting than singing at this point in 2012. So he's trying pretty hard, and you can tell in a couple scenes tries a little too hard maybe, but overall it's hard to miss with a movie that stars Clint Eastwood and John Goodman. So
and Matthew Lillard, he was kind of
that's
an
true.
MVP in that movie.
So that's why it is my number 3, Trouble with a Curve.
All right. My number 3 is the Apple Plus release that was back in 2021 called Palmer. And Palmer was a movie where he is acting his ass off in this movie. I think he's really good in a performance sense. So again, 2021, he's had a career that he's been working on as an actor, not consistently, but over time you pick up some things, and basically is an ex-con who's trying to go on the straight and narrow, moves in with his grandmother, played by June Squibb, and then his next door neighbor who lives in this trailer, played by Juno Temple from Fargo and Ted Lasso. Well, she has a son that he kind of befriends and takes in, and the son's dealing with his identity and being gay and stuff like that. And it was just kind of, and he's like a hard, kind of tough guy and stuff, so he doesn't really understand like the social dynamic of that. But he ends up having to look after the kid, and really good stuff. It's always funny, like Justin Timberlake. Sometimes he can look pretty hard, but then when he talks, he still has his voice, like his iconic
He's
voice.
got
I mean,
that
that's what
teen
made him.
idol voice.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not to say that it's bad. I mean, that's what made him who he is. Like it's
Right.
just part of who he is. But again, I thought he was really good in this movie. He plays Southern. I thought his accent was really good. But yeah, Palmer, definitely definitely a good movie if you still, just kind of want to see like a little Southern Kentucky Fried little social drama. It's on Apple Plus. Um, my number two, I'll just round back up, is The Social Network. And I don't think anybody in this movie is weak. I think every
No.
every person in this movie is an important cog. I mean, it's a perfect ensemble. It starts with Jesse Eisenberg as Andrew Garfield, and then it has Justin Timberlake playing a person that we all know very well. And well, in the movie he's Sean Parker, but in real
Mhm.
life he's playing Sean Fanning, the creator of Napster. Because it was funny when I saw the movie, I was like, "Why are you saying your name is something else other than what it is? You didn't create Napster. That's a different Sean." But for some reason they had to change the name. I don't know, but his performance in that's really good because he plays a guy who basically weasels his way in. Like he's almost like a villain in a
Yeah.
certain extent, but he's also a businessman, an entrepreneur. So they're kind of selfish minded in that sense anyway. But say he's villainous, I don't know. But he kind of weasels his way into a relationship with Mark Zuckerberg, again played by Eisenberg, and I think that he was really good in this movie. Again, working with David Fincher, that was like what I was saying. You have a
Mhm.
situation where you're working with an accomplished director such as Fincher, they're going to bring the best out in you. And I think that it definitely did. Like, it's such a good part. I like that the gif that's been going around where Andrew Garfield's gonna act like he's gonna punch him, and then he like punks him out, and he just like jumps back, like Timberlake jumps back and stuff. That's pretty good stuff. But yeah, Social Network. I just love that movie anyway. So if
Oh yeah,
there's a,
man.
there,
It's one of those ones that you never really like seek out right now,
Mhm,
but if you happen to come across it on your list of things you might like, you're
mhm.
like, "Oh shit, that is a good movie. Let me watch it real quick."
I'm not one to tell David Fincher what to do or anything, but I will say that there was a missed opportunity of having Justin Timberlake doing a song with Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails because Trent Reznor and his partner Atticus Finch, like this is one of the first movies that they scored together. And I
Mhm.
think it won the Academy Award for Best Original Score for a Motion Picture. So I was thinking, why couldn't it have been back in the 90s, man, where you had to have one big song attached to the movie? Because you have Timberlake right there. Have him sing something with your funky, weird, eerie, atmospheric music that you created. Like that could have been kind of
Yeah.
badass. So I thought that was the only missed opportunity there. But again, Social Network, we're talking about his performances alone, and I think that's his second best.
And it's in the time where he's trying to be more of an actor. Maybe that's why he didn't want to sing. He's like, I
Hmm.
want them to take me more serious as an
That's
actor,
true.
not my in sync or music career. So,
Yeah.
but let's play the guy that steals all the music. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I love the irony of that character. It's really, really funny when you think about it like that.
Yeah. All right. My number two. I and I'm going with a movie that I really like. It's really funny, and I think this type of role is what Justin Timberlake is made for.
Hmm.
The rom-com.
Mm.
Because he has that voice, he has that, that playful body language that he has on stage when he's singing because he was a teen pop star and stuff like that. So 2011 he made a movie with Mila Kunis called Friends with Benefits.
Hmm.
um, Movie about friends with benefits,
Hmm.
and they end up really liking each other, and they didn't want to. They were just supposed to be there for a good time, not for a long time.
Yeah, that was a
uh,
good movie too. I really like that.
and like I said, I think this type of movie, the rom-com, is really where he shines, just
Hmm.
because he has that personality to me. Like, I mean, if you're Jimmy Fallon's best friend,
Hmm.
of course you're going to be funny and playful.
Hmm.
And this movie is all that. Like, they don't want to be taken too serious, and everything's a joke, and it just comes off really good. It is a really good performance by him. Of course, Mila Kunis is great. Jenna Elfman's in this movie. She's freaking hilarious.
Dharma.
Yep. Woody Harrelson's in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
which was a surprise to me a little bit. Add Andy Samberg. So it's got a good cast. If you want to go watch it, it's a good watch. Shoot, I might go watch it later.
I like
I
how
haven't
they
seen it
give
in a minute.
Semisonic's closing time, like just proper respect. That.
Oh, yes,
Let me
100%.
ask you something. So this
Mhm.
came out the same year that Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman's No Strings Attached came out, which again is a
Oh,
Friends with Benefits movie.
yes.
And which one did you prefer?
Oh, I would say Friends with Benefits, but just barely, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're both really, really good, and me and you both love Natalie Portman.
Mm-hmm.
I think you more than me.
Joy. I was like, that's my tipping point.
um, but I don't know. I liked this movie. Same synopsis, same
Mm-hmm.
basically everything.
Yeah.
Uh, but
I think
I
the only
like this one.
difference was like the setting. I think one was California,
Hmm.
the other one's New York or something like
Yeah,
that. So, but yeah, that was a good movie. I really did think that Friends with Benefits was pretty good. I haven't seen that
it,
in a long time. That'd be a good one to rewatch too. You
it
know, it's
is.
funny. I like what you mentioned about his comedic prowess because he's pretty good as comedy. You know, you even mentioned Andy Sandberg was in that movie. Like his whole
Hmm.
thing with the Lonely Island, you know, Dick in the Box, like all that stuff, like all those like joke songs that he did. Even that movie that I just rewatched, Pop Star, about Andy
Hmm.
Sandberg. Like Justin Timberlake has a cameo role in this movie, not as himself, but as his personal chef. And he's a guy that is a musical savant. You know, he's a genius.
Hmm.
But Andy Sandberg doesn't want to hear anything about it. He just wants him to make him some shit to eat, you know? And it's so funny. And I'm like, wow, he's really funny in this. He should do like a full on comedy. And, you know, Bad Teacher was good too with Cameron
Yeah.
Diaz and Jason Segel. And, you know, but he kind of played the straight guy in that. He wasn't really doing a lot of funny stuff. Yeah, that's pretty good. Do you have any other honorable mentions? I mean, I have a couple more here too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I see. Oh, you want to talk about singing to the max? I mean, the Trolls
Trolls
movie with Anna Kendrick. Like he voices all three of the or four. I don't know how many Trolls movies there were.
and and voices some in Shrek with
That's
singing.
right,
So.
Arthur. Oh God,
Mhm.
that's when they called King Arthur Artie. I was like, what the hell? No. Oh, and then he was Boo Boo and Yogi Bear. I forgot
Yeah.
about that too. And then the Love Guru. Oh my God, with Mike Myers, the like
Uh,
most disastrous movie of all time. Inside Llewyn Davis, the Oscar Isaac um, Coen Brothers movie. That one was really good. Oh,
mhm.
Runner was interesting. The one with Ben Affleck, where they're doing like the gambling and then they get into this like drug trafficking thing. That was
Oh
kind of
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. I remember that one.
Wonder Wheel with Kate Winslet. Reptile, that one came out last year on Netflix. That was kind of disappointing. Um, it was interesting. I mean, spoilers, he was a serial killer, but they telegraphed that right in the first scene. So I was like, well, is he the killer? Because I think they just kind of gave it away in the first scene. Yeah, Black Snake Moan with Christina Ricci and Samuel L. Jackson. That's a really good movie. Yeah, and I think other than our number ones, man, I think that's all I can see here. A lot of concert videos.
And that's like IMDb do better because if I'm looking in the movie database, I ain't trying to look for music videos.
I hate when they
Come
do
on.
that, right? Like they should have a tab that's like self, you know, himself or self or
Right.
something like that to get it out of like the filmography. But
Hmm.
yeah. All right. Well, do you want to go with your number one now, or you
Yeah,
want me to?
I'll go with
Okay.
my number
All
one.
right.
So my number one is, and I've been trying to look and I couldn't find it, but this is either his very first role as a major role
Mm-hmm.
or the second one. I'm not 100% sure, but this was in 2006. This is the first time I remember seeing Justin Timberlake in a movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it is the movie Alpha Dog.
Yeah.
He plays a serious role, kind of a
Mhm.
gangster, got some neck tattoo,
Yeah. I
and
remembered him trying
he's
to pull
all
that off.
tatted up, and I'm like, that's Justin Timberlake. I remember watching it for the first time, and I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then I remember after watching the movie, I'm like, holy shit, this dude can act a little bit.
Mhm.
Because it's something so far off that in 2006, especially, that you're like not expecting this one bit,
Mhm.
and he pulls it off pretty damn well, man. Um, the ending of this movie is freaking amazing.
Mhm.
If you haven't seen it, and I don't want to spoil it, even though it's been back in 2006, I'm sure there's not a lot of people that have heard about Alpha Dog. I
Yeah.
don't think. So I don't want to give anything away. Definitely go and I believe,
It's streaming on Stars, it says.
yeah.
God,
Or you
this
can,
cast is ridiculous, man.
yeah, dude, it's insane.
I forgot about
Um,
all these people in this. You had Timberlake, you had Ben Foster, Emil Hirsch, Anton Yelchin, you had
Bruce
Bruce
Willis.
Willis, Sharon Stone, Amanda Seyfried, your girl Olivia Wilde from the OC. Damn, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people in this. Dude, I honestly, I don't think I've seen Alpha Dog maybe since
Really?
it came out. Yeah, no, I've seen it for sure.
Sharon Stone.
Sharon Stone.
Like
Yeah, and like I
it's a
said,
good movie,
it's
man.
on Stars. I'm definitely going to go rewatch that. I
Yeah,
haven't seen that in a long time.
it it's a good one. And like I said, it's the first time I remember seeing Justin Timberlake on the screen, and
Mhm.
it surprised the hell out of me in a good way.
Yeah.
So that's why it's my number one. Number one,
All
Alpha
right.
Dog.
Alpha Dog. Okay, well, my number one, I'm going to make it short and sweet. This movie came out, I didn't even get the year, like 2010. It's also starring Amanda Seyfried. It is In Time. In Time is a science fiction film written and directed by Andrew Nicole, who is popular for making films such as, well, he wrote The Truman Show, wrote and directed Gattaca, Simone with Al Pacino, which is a very, very interesting movie to watch now in the light
Mm-hmm.
of AI and all this, fake computer generated actors and stuff. End Time is a movie where you basically have a clock set on your wrist, and it's a countdown, to when you're going to die. And how the rich people, and there's a class system here. It's set in this like kind of future dystopia where there's a group of people like the wealthy have a lot of time, right? The people that don't have as much money, middle to lower class, they have less time. And if you start to get sick, your time drops, and you can always purchase more time, add credits to your time. It's a really interesting movie. And Olivia Wilde, yeah, Olivia Wilde is also in that. She plays
Mm-hmm.
his mother, which is funny because the way that time works in this type of future, well, apparently he's in a situation where he's mistaken for somebody else and he steals their time. So then he's on the run. And it's a really good movie. I think it's kind of underestimated how good this movie was. And again, it was a serious film, so it's always a hard sell for him to try and be taken seriously with a lot of movies like this. But I absolutely loved it. Yeah, 2011. It's on FX Now. Is FX Now even a
F
streaming service? I don't
thing.
even know.
FX, doesn't that stream on Hulu?
Yeah, you would think that it would be.
Well,
Yeah, it's like in a future where people stop aging at 25. That's why his mom looks so young because she looks, yeah, but engineered to live more and more. Yeah, it's a really good movie. I highly recommend In Time. That's my favorite Justin
man,
Timberlake movie.
I see that movie's clips come
Mhm.
across my TikTok
Yeah,
so much.
there's a
Um,
lot of just randomly crazy scenes that happen, and
mhm.
some of the things people do to acquire more time to live it's really interesting. And I think as far as like a lot of his movies, I think this is the one that is the most not thought out, but I think it's his biggest stretch in terms of creativity and originality. And
Mhm.
because it's easy to play a part that you're familiar with, but this is something totally different. You have to create something out of nothing. And again, In Time, highly recommended.
Great movie.
And I guess that's it, Chris. I guess
That's
we're
a
ready
thing. That's it.
to send it off, man. I thought I thought with all of our headlines and recently watched, I was like, oh crap, we're getting pretty close. This is going to be a 2-hour episode, but apparently not. And I also wanted to just go ahead and tell the listeners that may not see this, we are both wearing our Screen
Yes,
Addicts
some
podcast t-shirts,
beautiful merch.
which you can purchase on tpublic.com. There is a link in our link tree that you can go to if you want to
Mhm.
purchase. And not only can you purchase a shirt, they have all kinds of other stuff. You can get coffee cups, blankets, pillowcases, phone cases, just a
You
bunch of stuff.
know you want a pillowcase with me and Steven's face on it.
I have one. I want to sleep on my own face. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, and posters too. So if you don't want to sleep on our faces, you can just put us up on the wall.
Put it on the ceiling so when you lay down, you can look up at us.
And if that starts to freak you out, I highly recommend you going to betterhelp.com/screen addicts to schedule some kind of
Because
appointments. Because
after that, you will need some therapy.
yeah, absolutely. Get 10% off your first month. So again, thank you for BetterHelp. We really appreciate that. And
Absolutely.
Chris, do what you do, my man, and send us home.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for always sticking with us and joining us on the show. Wherever you're listening to, whether it's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever it is, thank you for being here. And since you're here, go ahead, if you will, leave us a 5-star review. That just helps us get seen a little bit more on those search engines. And then also there, go ahead, just make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know exactly when we drop new episodes. And, I know we've been off about a week, but we will be here. We've been here for 8 years and we'll continue to be here, guys. We don't see us stopping anytime soon just because we love it so much. And then in the social media world, if you will, whether it's Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, just search the Screen Addicts podcast, look for our little cover art, and that is us. Nobody has we're not that popular yet to where people are making fake profiles of us. So
Thank God.
so it will be us. And then head back over to Facebook, and we'd love for you to request you to be part of our private group called the Screen Addicts Fanatics. Being one of our fanatics, it is so much fun because in that group, that is where we are most active, dropping movie trailers and movie news and all the memes you can handle about TV and movies. And then if you ever have any questions, which I think we do have a question tonight.
I messed up. I was like, damn it, I didn't bring up the question. I didn't want to like cut off your beautiful closing, but yes, we do have one fan question. I'm gonna ask it real quick.
Okay.
Joe Padilla asked, are there any kind of wormholes you go down on TikTok or Reels that you think would make for a good movie? I was like, okay, and we were just talking about TikTok. I was thinking about this question, and man, I think mine would be better shows, like TV shows, than movies.
Yeah.
Because when I go and watch on TikTok, my feed typically ends up being, and the one things that aren't movie related or other people reviewing stuff, it's a lot of auto detailing, like cleaning cars and
What?
lawn mowing. I don't know,
You're
man.
such a dad, bro.
I don't know how this happened. I will literally watch I could clear an hour of just people detailing their cars, cleaning it out. It's so satisfying. And when they rip the damn seats out, I'm like, oh baby, we are
We're in it now.
We are deep. You want to talk about that deep? We're in it deep now. I'm like, yes, you get those crumbs that those little bastards left under your seat.
Oh my
And I'm telling you,
gosh.
man, and that's a good question because I was actually thinking about that the other day where I was like, I could watch a little show of people putting together, like they could be running an auto detailing business, and you could have your goofy crew, and then just show them cleaning cars, and they do the power washing of the cars. I'm in for that, man.
They would have a total of one viewer.
Hey, you know what? Screen Addicts Productions. We're gonna branch out to our first TV series.
Our first reality show.
It's like Pimp My Ride. It's like Clean My Whip. You know,
Perfect.
Spray My Whip.
Mm-hmm.
But again, and then the lawn mowing videos, dude. I don't know, man. You're right.
They already have a movie, Lawnmower Man. There you go. It's already done.
I think he mows like one lawn in that movie, and he did a shitty job because he wasn't a genius yet. But yeah, I don't know. I'll watch these videos, and then they hook me because they do. There's this like one that I follow, like SB Mowing, and it's huge on YouTube.
I
You have seen, you know what I'm talking about, dude. He gets like millions of views every single one of his videos.
What pisses me off about these videos is that you catch the first few seconds, and then you're like, "Fuck, I gotta wait till the end to see what this fucker looks like," because it was so bad. It was so bad.
Well, you could just scroll to the end, you know. You don't have to watch.
But then you missed the middle. It's like skipping to the end of a movie.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
Because when they're lining it up on the writers, that's when it gets real sweet. You're like, yes, hedge those or trim those hedges.
Jeez.
I'm telling you, man. But he hooks me because he does a lot of free, you know, he cuts a lot of yards that people that can't, you know, elderly or disabled, like their yards are just turned into the fucking fern gully because they can't do anything about it. And I'm like, oh, these poor people. And then here comes my boy. You know what? We ought to bring SB Mowing on to the show and ask him what are like the best gardens in movies.
Best
secret garden.
Best movies that feature a lawn. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Edward Scissorhands.
Shit.
The Secret Garden. Shit. Man, see? Other creativity forges other creativity. I'm telling you, Chris.
Dude, we should reach out. I think it would be amazing.
I think it would be funny. You know, because I was talking to you about that. And, you know, anybody that's listening to our show, like, I don't think nobody's ever told us that any of our guests were like, why did you bring that person on? Mm-hmm. Never once have we had anything negative ever said about any of the guests that we've ever brought on, because I think that, for one, we bring guests on that could pertain to a particular topic. Like, you can preview our next week's episode when you finish your closeout. But I think that's what makes it interesting, is like whenever somebody that's completely opposite of your brand comes onto your show. And I think that makes for really good podcasts, not on just ours, but like other ones that I've listened to. And I don't know. You know what? I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to get
mowing out.
Let's do it. Yes. See, I knew you're trying to dog me. You just quoted his phrase. Now, and we should also pitch him SB movie.
SB movie in.
Please close this out. Oh, what about you? I mean, are there anything like grilling? I'm sure.
No, you know, matter of fact, I try to stay away from grilling in my TikTok feed.
I got you.
Just because I live it every day, every hour. So I want to disconnect from that part at the end. So really, my TikTok feed and stuff right now is full of true crime.
Oh,
and obviously that would be great shows.
Mm-hmm.
True crime, and the other thing that's really big on it right now is casinos.
What good that did you? You need to watch more of those videos,
dude. I watched them just so I could be like ready for this trip, and I was
I'm gonna Rain Man this shit.
Damn right. And that didn't happen.
Nobody can count cards like Dustin Hoffman or Zach Galifianakis, for that matter.
Jeez.
I will say, though, also, Sonia goes down the rabbit hole on a lot of TikToks, but this one that she found recently is a guy that he reports on brutal animal attacks.
Ooh.
They're scary. That shit gives me nightmares.
Sharknado.
Sharks, bears, monkeys. I mean, when
Oh,
monkeys get like rabies at the zoo and they fuck you up.
speaking of monkeys, I just have to shout this out really quick because I texted you the other day because me and my cousins were sitting around the table. We're talking about old shit we used to watch.
Uh-huh.
And remember I texted you about Faces of Death.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh, the
Any
poor
of our
monkey in the table.
Yes.
Dude, that shit's messed up, Chris. Why are you bringing that up? I'm going to have nightmares about that.
Dude,
Ooh.
so so my cousins had never seen it.
Any of
So
them?
I'm
'Cause there's like 3 of them.
yeah, there's like 3 of them. No, but because we were specifically talking about this monkey. And I was like, I bet they have this shit on YouTube. They do.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
And it is so brutal, bro.
Yeah, man.
What the shit that we watched as kids, man.
Yeah. You know, I saw this meme and I shared it with some people where it was like, it was the one where iCarly, you know, that meme where she's like, you know, sitting in front of the computer.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 10-year-old me getting the internet the first time and looking at rotten.com on 1999. I was like, oh my God. I remember when Jeremy, the first thing that guy, whenever we got internet, we got it like, I think it was like our senior year. It was like '01 when we got internet in the house because we were a little late to it. And first thing I tell Jeremy, he comes over here and that sick bastard is like, oh man, I'm thinking pretty wholesomely about it. I wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm going to watch porn or anything like that. Because for one, the speed, the bandwidth is nothing. You're not watching anything on there.
You're still watching the squiggly lines on the TV.
Right. Yeah. The pay-per-view channels. Well, Jeremy comes over. He's like, oh, you got to check this one out. Rotten.com. And I'm like, what is that? Like, okay. And so we looked at it and I was like, dude, it was mutilations and real deaths. And it had like autopsy photos. And I was like, Jeremy, what the hell, man? Like, this is horrible. It didn't stop us from looking at like more, but it's just that weird morbid sensibility. We all have that curiosity, you know, and it's just, oh my God. But yeah, Faces of Death. That was a lot earlier too.
Don't watch it. Any of our listeners, it is way too much.
You know, I heard that they wanted to remake that. I don't know if it was going to be like a TV series. I'm serious. I saw an article about that. I'll find it and send it to you because man, I was like, how are they going to remake that? The whole point of that was the novelty of it being quote unquote real. I think they debunked it too, that it was fake. A lot of it was fake. I don't want to like.
Monkey wasn't fake, bro.
I don't know, man. That's some messed up shit, Chris. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say this for all the crap you give me about horror movies and about why do you watch this, Giallo, all this stuff. And here this dude is. I've never once brought up Faces of Death.
That's it. Death Body Bad Tub. Guys, if y'all are listening, we need to come back on the show and let's talk about Faces of Death.
Review Faces of Death.
Ready. I
guarantee you both of those two, they would be ready. We'll pitch it to them too.
Yes. Because I missed that episode. I need them back so I can be part of it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, so, you do.
Anyway, okay. Do I have to start over the
No. You got our notes. Just okay. I think the last part's good.
Yep. All right. If you have a question like Mr. Padilla did, and you want us to read it on the show, you can always email us at screenaddictspodcast@gmail.com. I mean, we got from what do you watch on TikTok to Faces of Death.
I was just about to say, he's like, man, I was just curious about what they watched that they started talking about killing monkeys and shit. I was like, God dang, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm all wholesome and mowing yards and cleaning cars. Shit.
Yes, anyway. Plug the shows. The Real Problems. If you have not heard it, Steven has another show out right now called Real Problems, where it talks about the problems that happen on set of movies. No monkey deaths. He is
I
talking
mean,
about.
that would make for a great episode.
It would. But honestly, man, it is a great show. It's an amazing show, and I know it's starting to take off for you. And um, keep going, man. There's such good episodes. Your latest episode is about.
I'm still in the process of editing it. I had to redo it. It kind of messed up, but it's going to be about Mad Max Fury Road. Speaking of Furiosa.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah. Um, and then I want to plug a friend of mine that I made. She is out of Albuquerque. Her name is Allie, and she has a podcast with her friend called Moxicated.
Hmm.
Moxicated is a show about them living their lives AF. And it's not what you think. It is living their lives alcohol free. And, it's them talking about you can still have a lot of fun and do a lot of things without alcohol, which is great and it's awesome. And we're looking to see if we can match up schedules, get them on the show sometime soon. But hey, if it's something that you're going through and you need some support or anything, hey, give Moxicated a listen. It's a pretty good show. I've listened to some episodes. Their latest episode is about movies
Nice.
and movies that have to pertain with partying and alcohol and stuff. So give it a listen. But I think that's it for tonight, man. Great show. It's been fun. Can't wait till the next one.
Which we can
Oh,
preview because we actually do know what we're going to be doing next time.
yes. I'll let you preview this one, my friend.
A good friend of ours, Peter from Podstalgic and Cobra Kai Companion, will be joining us as we review our top 3 favorite moments from the entire Karate Kid franchise, which includes all the films and every season of Cobra Kai. Because, Chris, brace yourself, sir. Are you ready? On June 22nd, the day that we plan to record, so it's kind of in coincidence.
Coincides.
Coincides, yeah. It will be the 40th anniversary of the
Ugh.
Karate Kid. Yeah, that's crazy. And I felt like a milestone like that should be honored, should be celebrated, because both of
100%.
us, that's a favorite for both of us. And Peter, Cobra Kai Companion is such an amazing show. And Peter on there has just created the perfect podcast for any fan of the Karate Kid franchise. He's literally
Yes.
interviewed every single one of the cast members of Cobra Kai, and we want to bring him on, talk about that, and of course, mention his top 3 favorite moments from the entire franchise, which I have mine. We definitely will have to go ahead and tell each other ahead of time because I'm pretty sure there's a bunch that will overlap. But
Oh yeah. I don't
looking,
know. I mean, with his extensive knowledge, I'm sure he's gonna pull out some things that I'm like, damn, I didn't even think about that being an amazing moment, but it was.
yeah, and
That's
there's a
what
lot
I'm
to
looking
cover
forward
too.
to.
So
Oh,
I'm
there
pretty
is.
sure we'll find our own things. But yeah, that's going to be our next episode. Will be the Karate Kid anniversary review.
Awesome. Well, I think that does it for tonight. So, guys, good night.
Adios, amigos.